Today we are going to discuss fractions. Fractions are numbers that name a part of a whole or a part of a group. In other words, a fraction represents a number less than 1. When you look at a fraction, you see two numbers separated by a line. The number on top of the line is called a numerator, and the number below the line is called the denominator. The denominator represents how many parts are in the whole or in the collection. The numerator represents how many of those parts we're going to use. If I had a whole square and I cut the square into 4 equal parts, then my square would have a 4 as its denominator. Remember, the denominator represents how many parts are in the whole. If I decided to keep 3 of those 4 parts to use in creating collage, then I would have a 3 as my numerator. Remember, a numerator represents the part of the whole you're going to use. My fraction would then be 3/4 of the whole square. The square represents 1, and what I used of the square represents 3/4 of the whole. Likewise, if I had a group of 4 apples and I decided to take 3 of them to my friend, then the whole group of 4 apples would cause me to have a 4 as my denominator, and my taking 3 of them to my friend would cause me to have a 3 as my numerator. I did not take the whole group of apples, but only a part of the group. The group represents 1, and what I took of the group represents 3/4 of the group. So as you can see, fractions can be part of a whole or part of a group. Some common fractions you should know are 1/2, 1/3, and 1/4. Looking at an example of each fraction, decide which fraction represents the largest part of a whole. Fractions with a 1 as the numerator are called unit fractions. Most people find it can be confusing to understand when the unit fraction's denominator increases, then the part of the whole becomes smaller. So the larger the denominator, the smaller the value of the fraction. Picture 1/2 of a pizza. 1/2 of a pizza would give you 2 large pieces. Now think of the same pizza cut into 3 pieces instead of 2 pieces. Suddenly your pizza slice gets a little bit smaller because each slice represents 1/3 of the pizza. Finally, think of the same pizza cut into 4 slices. Now the slices are actually 1/2 the size of the first pizza. Your portion is even smaller. So as you can see, when you are working with unit fractions, the larger the denominator, the smaller the value, or in this case, the slice of the fraction. Some fractions are harder to picture than others, but it helps to estimate the fraction and determine if it is closer to 0 or 1 whole. First, look at the denominator and then compare it to the numerator. If the numerator is half or more of the denominator, then the fraction is close to 1 whole. If the numerator is less than half of the denominator, then the fraction is closer to 0 than it is to 1. So when you hear 5/6 of the popcorn is gone, then you know nearly all the popcorn has been eaten. When you see that 2/6 of the movie is over, then you know you have more than half of the movie still to watch. And that isn't good, because most of the popcorn is gone.